Good Shabbos, everybody. I know it's Labor Day weekend. You guys have Middle Tennessee State tomorrow. I know, is Auburn playing? I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, just making sure. But I noticed when you moved to Alabama, they ask you who your team is. And another thing we've noticed about Alabama is that the power goes out a lot. Power goes out a lot. So Rachel makes fun of me because when we have to set the alarm clock at home, I try to sync it with my cell phone so you can see me watching my cell phone and to get it right on like 7:53, I want it perfect, just my personality. Does anyone know where that time is coming from? If you guys were to take out your cell phones, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, I know there's a Sprint. Okay, do you guys know? One time this was the case. Yes, it comes from Hashem, yes, the sun, okay. But there's one good source that we use here in America. The atomic clock. One time it was in Colorado. For America, that's time, okay? So time is really important. But it was really, really important for the rabbis. It was so important they didn't have alarm clocks, nor did they have calendars. So what did they rely upon when things would change? Who said the moon? A+. Lunar, okay. So again, that's how they knew there was Rosh Chodesh, there was a new moon, new month, okay? For rabbinic Jews and medieval Jews, time is important. We've established that. Where is the center of time for the Jewish people? Where is the central time?
Jerusalem.
Bingo, Jerusalem. Okay? Jerusalem, you see all the medievals, Saja Gaon, Judah Halevi. Jerusalem is where the atomic clock is for the Jewish people, okay? That's where it is. That's where the world was created. So that's Jerusalem. It's rabbinic theology, okay? So in order for there to be a new moon, especially for holidays, we know that the Beit Din, the legal court, or Sanhedrin, they got together, they saw the moon, and they established this is a new moon and a new year. But we have a problem. When they wrote rabbinic literature, we knew that Jews were outside the land of Israel. Some were in Rome, in Egypt. They were spread out in Syria. And we, the Jewish people, as neurotic as we are, they were even worse then. They said, what are they going to do in order to know that there is a new moon and a new year if they don't know when the Beit Din makes a ruling? What they also used to do, call them smoke signals. They would go atop a mountain, they'd light a flame. A couple miles away, they'd see the flame, and they too would light the flame. It's like the Return of the King, those who've read Lord of the Rings, okay? That's where Tolkien got it from. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how they would indicate something's happening. But again, that was also problematic. What happens if you're outside Israel? The flame's not going to reach Rome, it's not going to reach Tarsus, it's not going to reach any of these areas. So they perseverated over this. And we know it's written in the Torah that we're supposed to celebrate a new year. But the rabbis were worried that what happens if they don't know when the Beit Din has made a ruling as to when we observe Rosh Hashanah. So in order to ensure, I call this Masayag HaTorah, building a fence around the Torah. It's a metaphor of doing extra precautions. And again, with metaphor that Rosh Hashanah is one day, they decided to make it, I know where Sandra's going with this, 2 days. So we have a nearly 1900-year principle, give or take, of observing Yontif for 1 day and 2 days on Rosh Hashanah. Even in Eretz Yisrael, even today, they observe first and second day Rosh Hashanah with this concern of making sure they get it right. Now, when you get through the thick of it, they're going to say that Rosh Hashanah isn't really 2 days, it's just one long day. But then you may ask, how come we don't observe 2 days of Yom Kippur? You gotta love rabbinic ingenuity. They said, oy vey, fasting for 2 days is too difficult. I swear to you, that's what they said back in the day. But Rosh Hashanah is supposed to be 2 days, but we have a problem as Reformed Jews. Don't worry, Sandra, I'm not making a decree that we're observing second day Yontif. Yet. I go. In San Diego, we observed 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. But we observed 7 days of Pesach and 7 days of Sukkot. But the rabbis did the same thing to ensure this double protection, Messianic Torah. They added an extra day to make sure that we were fulfilling the mitzvah, they were right. Extra precaution. So we were a bit of a paradox. We observed 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, but only 7 days of Pesach and 7 days of Sukkot. My last year in San Diego, the seventh day ended on Friday night. What do you think we did hamotzi with? Challah. It was mass mutiny among the Reformed Jews. How dare we have challah on the 7th day of Pesach, even though Reformed Jews only celebrate 7 days. See, it's very confusing. And I believe in the reason of Judaism that 200 years ago, Israel Jacobson, Abraham Geiger, we had to bring reason into the religion and say, you know something? We are rational. We have a calendar system. We know with time zones. We know when Rosh Hashanah starts and when it begins. But again, this idea of Messiag HaTorah, building a fence around the Torah to ensure protection, authenticity, in order that we are Yotzi. It's expression that we fulfilled our obligation to observe the new year, or 8 days of Sukkot, 8 days of Pesach. So what does that mean for us? I can tell you that 2,000 years ago, more than likely, Jews had milk and meat together. But by the 3rd century, they were really confused with the verse about boiling a kin in its mother's milk. They didn't know what to do with the verse, so out of rabbinic ingenuity, they came up with the idea, Messiag HaTorah, this means that we're supposed to separate milk and meat, to add that safeguard. Safeguard have kept Judaism alive for this long. And with the rise of the modern period, we were able to adjust and pivot to make it more look like the contemporary life. Many Reformed congregations will observe 2 days of Yontif, and many Reformed congregations will observe 1 day of Yontif. But I want to be clear. I'm not advocating for 2 days. I just want to teach the congregation as to why we have observed 2 days of Rosh Hashanah for nearly 2,000 years. It's to ensure that it's that airbag, it's that second parachute. In our lives, we all take precautions. In different capacities, in our occupations, or what we like to do, we have precautions. So second day Yom Tif, even though as the rabbis want to explain that it's one long, beautiful day, it ensured that Jews throughout the world were all doing it the same together. I don't know what that means for Temple Emanu-El in 5, 10, 15 years. That's up for the ritual committee. But for us, it's important, even as Reform, as contemporary Jews, that we know the origins of these things, because it's up to us to make the informed choice as to how we want to engage our Jewish life. Again, here's the key. Making an authentic, informed choice whether or not we observe second day Rosh Hashanah, whether we wrap tefillin, we come to Shabbat services, we light the Shabbat candles. Everything that we do in Judaism, one, we're supposed to do because it's written, but we're supposed to have intentionality behind it. And for us, that is making a conscious, informed choice. 2 weeks from tonight, Oy vey, Erev Rosh Hashanah. Sunday is a regular day for many people in this country. But it's still Yontif, whether you go to shul or whether you don't go to shul. But the good news is, we still get to reflect, we still get to introspect, and I don't believe in a God that takes attendance records. Shabbat Shalom, and I promise we're not doing second day Rosh Hashanah. Everyone's heart's pounding. Do you want me to add a mechitza? I'm just kidding. Okay. We rise together, Aleinu 586.